Hi boys, welcome to the second part of the memo video of 6.12. In this video we're going to deal with the recording of these transactions in the General Journal, CRJ and CPJ. So the transaction on the 5th said why Shelley's account of 800 Rand has been overdue for 3 months and we charged her 40 Rand interest on the overdue amount. We said to each other that this will go to the General Journal. So it will be journal voucher number 1 on the 5th. Why Shelley's account is debited, interest on overdue debtors is credited, which is an income account in the nominal section, and the details or the journal narration will be interest charged on debtors overdue account. Remember, usually we give the interest rate and the time period as well, but in this case it wasn't given to us, so this journal narration will be accepted. Then, on the 9th, we sold stock on credit to S. Strew for 500 Rand, but it was incorrectly posted to the account of S. Straw. We have to go and correct this error in the General Journal. So it will be journal voucher number 2. We have to go and debit the correct debtor, which is S. Strew, and credit the incorrect debtor, S. Straw, and then you just say correction of error. Please remember that since both of them affect debtors control, you must also indicate it here. Then the next transaction said why Shelley settled her account by check. The owner decided to grant her usual discount of 2.5%. Okay, so in the previous video, we made it clear that she owed us 840 Rand. 819 Rand was paid by her, and 2.5% discount, which represents 21 Rand, was allowed as discount. Now, this is a normal CRJ transaction, so in your CRJ, you would have said receipt number 1 because they said you should give your own document numbers. On the 14th, why Shelley is debtor number 1. The amount that we actually received from her would go to analysis and bank and to the receipts column of debtors control, and then the discount allowed value only goes to the discount allowed column. Then on the 16th, merchandise sold to Y. Shelley for 200 Rand was wrongly posted to the account of Y. Shallow. It's an error that must be corrected in the General Journal. So if you go back to the General Journal, we will issue journal voucher number 3. And we have to go and debit Y. Shelley because she's the debtor that actually bought the stock from us, and credit Y. Shallow because she was incorrectly debited, and it's a correction of error. Then the next transaction on the 17th said that the bank informed COVID budget stores, that's us, that Y. Shelley's check, which was received on the 14th, had been dishonored due to insufficient funds. Once again, in the previous video, I explained it very nicely that the part that we actually received from Y. Shelley, that's 819 Rand, must be cancelled in the CPJ. So let's go and do that first. Okay, so the part that we actually received must be cancelled in the CPJ. The document will always be bank statement for a dishonored check. The date is the 17th. You have to write the debtor's name and RD check. Remember that. It's debtor number 1, and bank will be credited with 819. Debtors control will be debited with 819. The other part, the part that was allowed as discount, must be reversed in the General Journal. Okay, so this will actually be journal voucher number 4. On the 17th, go and debit Y. Shelley's account because the discount is reversed. Go and credit discount allowed, and you say discount cancelled on an RD check. Okay. Then the next transaction on the 19th said, that stationery purchase on credit was entered in the relevant journal as 937 Rand, but it only cost us 397 Rand. So we calculated the amount as 540 Rand that was debited to stationery too much and credited to creditors control too much. So to go and reverse this, it will be done in the General Journal, and you will go and debit creditors control because you have to reverse that excess value and you have to go and credit stationery and you say correction of error. Remember, we did this calculation in the previous video. Then on the 20th, the owner took different things for himself. He took trading stock at a cost price of 320 Rand, stationery at 48 Rand, and a check for 800 Rand. Okay, so the two elements that will affect the general journal is trading stock and stationery. And what is important here is because these will both debit drawings, we can actually record it at the same time with the same journal voucher. So remember, similar transactions are recorded at the same time. Okay, so we will say journal voucher number 6, we will go in debit drawings with the total value. And we will go and credit trading stock with the cost price of 320 and credit stationery with the value of 48 Rand. So if you add these two together, you get that 368 Rand that drawings was debited with. Okay, so remember this. Similar transactions are recorded at the same time on the same journal voucher if they take place on the same day. And now you can't say stock taken by owner, because it's stock and stationery, so you say items taken by owner for personal use. The drawings value that affected the CPJ, that 800 Rand, will be recorded here. It will be check counterfoil number 1 because they said make up your own numbers. I think they said that the owner's name is Jay Corvett somewhere, Jimmy Corvett. And then it's 800 Rand drawings. And that's your last CPJ transaction for the month. So you can actually go and total your CPJ. Then the next transaction on the 21st said the photocopier machine was repaired by Salmid Technology at a total cost of 646 Rand. The amount was posted to the equipment account. And we said this error is fixed in the general journal. So if you look at your general journal, it's journal voucher number 7. On the 21st, repairs must have been debited, not equipment, so credit equipment, and you just say correction of error. Then the next transaction on the 24th, Corvette Budget Stores was informed that while Shelley had been declared insolvent, her estate paid 40 cents in the rand and the balance of her account must be written off. Okay, so let's go and look at the value that her estate pays first. So her estate paid us 40 cents in the rand. We said at the end of the day, she owed us 1,040 Rand. The explanation of that is in the previous video. Okay, so the amount that we actually receive from her estate will go to the CRJ. It will be receipt number 2. It's 416 Rand. Okay, and it will count as debtors control receipts. And then the amount that must be written off will go to the general journal. It's journal voucher number 8. Bad debts will be debited. Debtors control will be credited. And you can say 60 cents in the rand of debtors account written off, or you can just say account written off. You don't have to say that 60 cents in the rand. I just like to be very thorough. Then on the 28th, the account of NCD, who owed 230 Rand, was written off 3 months ago as he could not be traced, and he reappeared on this day and settled the amount due. So in the previous video, again, I explained that when a debtor who was written off previously comes back and they come and pay us the value that they actually owed us, then it won't affect debtors control, because on the day that we wrote their account off, we completely took them out of debtors control. We said they don't owe us any money. Okay, so we can't go and credit debtors control again, because then that won't make sense. Okay, so if they reappear and they were written off previously, then the account that is credited is an income account called bad debts recovered. This whole transaction will go to the CRJ because we actually receive money on that day. So our debit will be bank and the credits will be bad debts recovered. Looks like this. And because this is the last transaction for the day, for the CRJ, you can actually go and total your CRJ. Please remember this. It's quite important. And you don't write a debtor's number here because NCD is not a debtor anymore. And then the last transaction on the 29th, discount was received from Rack Dealers for 45 Rand, but we overstated it as 54 Rand. So we debited creditors control with 9 Rand too much, and we have credited discount received with 9 Rand too much. So to fix this, we will go to the general journal. It will be journal voucher number 9 on the 29th. Discount received must be debited to fix that overstatement in the previous transaction, and then creditors control must be credited to fix that overstatement, and you say correction of error. And then lastly, you must remember to total your debtors control and creditors control columns.